All right, now we're away from everybody. There's no dash cam in this vehicle. So
I am going to be as transparent.
Are you wanting to speak with me as far as like with something where you're actually asking for like privilege to be extended, where you want me to be like good faith privilege extending things?
I don't.
Confidentiality,
yeah, sure.
or okay. Cool.
I also, it's kind of awkward because you're a cop now, and I don't know where your allegiance lies. Because right now, I think the. Okay, look, I'm just gonna shoot straight.
Just shoot straight.
I don't know if you're comfortable with the word, so I'm not going to use it. But Murphy...
You can use it anyway.
Wait, what?
You can just use it anyway. Oh, man, Murphy. The word Murphy. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is absolutely fucking useless, brain dead, and I want him impeached.
Oh. Oh. That's interesting.
And I want the position because over the last 7 months between him and Moulton, they haven't done jack shit. And
the department?
Well, I'm sorry?
For the department? Yeah.
Yes.
I've had a bar. I mean, listen, Moulton fought like hell to get lawyers a 7 for a raise when everybody else was I'll say I've seen them both fight for certain things, but do I think certain... Well, I'm not... Okay, I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm gonna let you speak. I'm gonna let you speak. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I want to hear this.
Speak your truth.
This is very useful.
I'm...
Have either of them done anything like
I have
of
something
use?
written up every single fucking week to present in the council. I don't run out of ideas. I'm an idea machine.
Okay. And he doesn't, I'm assuming?
Well...
Other than raise your pay?
Lance, I will shit on Lance for a second. Lance skipped the last, like, 3 meetings. And then showed up, like, once at the end. He was phoning it in for the second half of the term, for sure. Sorry, keep going on about, you said they haven't done shit for...
He got done telling me that you and Max want to kill him, and he's afraid of his life.
Oh
and
my God,
I ended
he's
the
such a
phone
whiny
call.
brat.
I called him as one of his 3 people that voted for him when he begged for a vote, begged for me to wake up, begged for me to come in for
votes for him too.
And
so I feel that.
I called him, and I have never met a more useless piece of shit in my fucking life, to the extent that this brain damaged individual could not fathom the concept of being able to balance more than one idea in his mind at the same time. He is so absolutely one track, but he's using that almost as a layer of excuse for what is and can only be described as laziness. This piece of shit got done instead of comprehending the words that were coming out of my mouth, which was a very simple request and concern as one of his 3 voters and a individual who he is supposed to be representing. But apparently, because you and Max are trying to kill him, he's so fearful of his life and his position that he didn't have time to hear and answer the question, are you responsible for the Moulton process? And quite frankly, after wasting 50 minutes of my time with that useless piece of shit named Slacks, who mostly seemingly just wants to walk into meetings just to put his 2 cents and then do nothing about it, even Slacks came across as more valuable of a human being with any sort of power.
I love the way you say even Slacks, as if you're like, Jesus, the bar was in hell, Murphy. You didn't have to do much to step over.
The amount of brain damage I have incurred in the last 30 hours of trying to practice bar has me wondering if any individual with a bar license has actually attempted to do anything of use. I will simplify it by saying this. My adventure started with attempting to request a FOIA for a client of mine who was a victim of a crime. After hearing that the FOIA could not be found, or the report could not be found, well, I did the next logical step, which is go to dispatch and ask her to take a victim statement and just get a recording of what she said in the event. It's typing, right? Might as well record it just in case. So
Yeah.
she then, in the most prickly way, states, well, even if I write this, I'm not giving it to you for 5 days. And I'm like, excuse me?
Wait,
You're
who said
writing
what?
Jadalyn or something like that?
Jadelyn. Okay.
And that, I just quite frankly, I was so annoyed by, number one, her demeanor for someone who was forced into becoming a victim of a crime, and instead of showing even an ounce of sympathy, decided to just out of the blue, without being asked, state, well, I'm not going to give you this for 5 days. I ended up calling her useless and found 2 other offices that had some brain cells. They were great, actually. Lin something, Lao something. He's a cadet, I think. Along with Bayweather. They
Oh, Bay's great and 10 out of 10.
they very
bro, when I was
cordially-
doing lawyer work, okay, can I just tell you? Okay.
Mhm.
I literally hated the Molten process so much. I literally bitched at Molten about it being 5 days. I put my foot down against it in the actual council meeting, not wanting it to be 5 days. Still annoyed about how that went down. And Slacks literally delayed a report for me back in like early February for literally no reason other than the fact that he could for 5 fucking days.
Oh my god.
Yes. It's so fucking obnoxious. I literally hated it, and I've been
Siobhan?
wanting, I've been wanting to rewrite it for a while, to be honest with you, because it was
it's
so
even
annoying.
worse. It's even worse. Just get ready. Just get ready for this. This is the
Wait,
preamble.
hold on. You're not. This is a preamble. Oh my god.
This is a preamble. Oh, it's a preamble. I then, finally they took it, right? They took the report. And like I said, I told that
Okay.
dispatcher she's useless. I didn't really give a shit because you have to understand from my perspective, right? I'm dealing with a victim, right? I'm very cordially being like, hey, we got to take a report. And I've got someone just being like a complete prick for no reason, right? And especially in front of my client. Like, bro, she's a victim here. Like, what the fuck? Like, where is this coming from? I don't even know you. Like, you have no reason to be upset with me. Or her, for that matter. So, everything gets taken, whatever. And so now so I decide, I'm like, okay, why is she... Jaeger, shut the fuck up!
Oh, hey, Jaeger!
Sir, that's Nino Chavez. Let me open the door. Hi.
Who?
Nino Chavez?
Nino?
Nino.
What's going on, Jaeger?
What the fuck? What the hell? You're alive?
Yeah, I'm alive. You know what, Jaeger? You're the reason I decided to stop waking up.
Me?
Yeah, because you failed to convince Max and to get my business approved.
Max is a fucking bastard. What do you want me to say?
Yeah,
That
and
was
then
Juno's
it turns
fault.
out it was Juno the entire time.
It was Juno's fault.
Oh, it was. I tried talking to him about that, but he was
I tried
dead
talking to him
set on,
about
like-
it too.
He was like dead set on giving her this like redemption story because she was wronged or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or do I care? I mean, I do care. I'm sorry.
You
Try.
made me
She
spit
not
in my
wake up.
face.
I
Fuck
want you to
Juno.
know that, Jaeger.
Oh God. Oh, you didn't wake up? I'm sorry. I was in jail for like 60 years.
When?
It felt like 60 years.
Like 5 years ago?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, you guys seem to be
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Don't
All
worry,
right.
I mean, yeah, Jaeger can probably hear this. You might be interested or find the tea interesting.
It's going to be a
not
lot of
sure.
yapping, Jaeger. It's up to you, though.
I mean, what are you guys talking about?
So
Well,
I'll
it sounds
fast
like we were
forward a
getting
little
to
bit.
some part where Murphy Braun is useless. But
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Ooh.
Nino's
I
never
have
sounded more
never-
triggered.
I am ready to nuke the entire fucking island at the end of this is where it's gonna go. So
All right,
fast
buddy.
forward a little bit of it
That already happened.
Yeah, that happened.
again.
No repeats.
Okay. So fast forward, Fiona, victim, go to Mission PD, some dumbass dispatcher named Jalen is being a prick to her and to me, saying that she can't give me a fucking report of something that's being written right there and right then. So she says, well, that's the DOJ rule. And then she called you, Siobhan, and she called Murphy because I snapped at her fucking dog shit attitude in front of a victim, right? Like that. And so I'm like, I don't know who the fuck she thought she was. Like, and not that like I think I'm any better than her, but it's like more the attitude, right? Like it's a fucking victim. Anyways, so I go back and I'm like curious, right? Because I'm a curious guy. I'm like, okay, why the fuck is she even saying this to begin with? I want to make sure that next time this kind of bullshit happens, I got a legal thing to lean on. Well, that's when I find out that the Moulton process exists, which looks to me as though Moulton, who, from what I understand, has been largely useless in his tenure, woke up drunkenly,
I'm still listening.
wrote 2 paragraphs with shit grammar, with improper, like, FOIA's not even capitalized. Like, it's literal dog shit. Like, you could, like, it was written in, like, how did it work 5 years ago? Oh, okay, let me just, okay, going back to sleep. Like, it's so fucking trash. And I look at this, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? And then I find out it's not even in law. And then I go even deeper down the rabbit hole. And I'm like, wait.
Just in the government channels for Department of Justice and in police SOPs.
Not
but
only
it's not in legislation.
is it in legislation, but even further, we don't have the right to a speedy trial. I can't even argue that if the police department decided on their own volition not to produce any documentation, they could literally get away with that, regardless. Like, you know, there's SOPs or whatever. But my clients over the next week and a half all had the same issue, Siobhan. I cannot get warrants. I can't get FOIAs on warrants. I can't get, there's other lawyers that are literally, one of them waited 45 days for a FOIA on something, and there's no recourse. Because legally speaking, the only way to go and attack that is to make a constitutional argument. But with the lack of, like, right to a speedy trial, et cetera, those, like, legal mechanisms simply don't exist. And then I went even deeper. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what I'm going to do? If they start to act like pricks, I'm going to mag dump them with every single charge. Not legal mag dump. I'm going to go to the docket. And I spoke with 4 of the justices. This is the post-Soze court case, which, mind you, I get what he's saying half of the way. The other half, he's lost his mind. Regardless.
Oh my god, did you see his dockets, ma'am? He's actually insane. The reason I was trying to motion for a psych eval is because I genuinely question his fitness to stand trial.
My only counter to that is, like, I'm starting to feel like him. Like, my brain is like tearing apart. Like, you know when you work out, you get the micro tears. Like, I feel like my brain is micro tearing, right? And I don't know if it's irreparable.
Becoming more massive now.
Like,
yeah, it's getting bigger.
Yeah, but that's not good. That's how you get brain damage, because it doesn't fit in the skull. You know, then
Actually, micro tears would create brain hemorrhaging, huh?
Yeah,
Your brain hemorrhaging, like when you take mushrooms.
So now I've got all these lawyers who are hitting me up and saying, brother, we've had this issue for weeks. I can't do anything. People are quitting. Lawyers are quitting because every time they go to the down the Mission OP, whether it's the Moulton process actually even indicates that you cannot get a FOIA on a warrant, which means that so anyways, let me skip some of the fat to this. Is I spoke to the justices, I brought my concerns, and, like, bring it to the consul, talk to Murphy, fast forward, I speak with Bailey about some of these, like, I can't get the warrant. You should know
my opinion of Bailey is that he is a
he's a little fence city and a little speaking down to you.
He's a moron.
Okay. I will say that as of so far, Bailey has been, of all the individuals I've spoken to in their high positions, has been the most of use, because he's done one thing that the others that I'm about to name haven't done, which is actually have a dialogue.
Okay.
So I go down. I've got 2 clients. 2 of them are civilians. They've been civilians for months. Who've been caught with like a weapon that apparently was not documented by the police department. Or sorry, someone was caught with their weapon that wasn't documented. There's indications that maybe it wasn't written down. They have a history of being targeted by a singular gang. Da 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 da. But the thing is, I can't do anything because when I went to go FOIA it, they told me suck a dick. It's not in the Alton report. I take a copy of it. I try to FOIA it. I can't. I speak with Bailey over my concerns. I'm like, brother, how the fuck do we fix this? Because I can go through the process of like mag dumping the docket until there's change, but I don't want to do that. Let's have a simple conversation. Who owns this? He tells me the responsibility is on the head of bar and the city council, both of them, because it would need to be even though Murphy may be able to change the process, legislation which would give civilians the right to a speedy trial and would make FOIA a legislative requirement would require council voting. And I'm like, that's great. Okay, perfect. You know, I might even write this up. And you know, my plan was I'm going to write up the legislation myself. I'm going to go and like,
I was going to offer Nino. I was working on FOIA. I was working on this. I would love for us to work on this together and I will present it to the council.
Beautiful.
If Murphy's unwilling.
This guy got me off a 60-year, what was it, like 60 years, 7 million murder charge to like 600 or 300K in like a week.
Murphy
This
did?
guy's your guy. No, you.
Oh.
Remember when I killed that cop?
Oh my God.
This is the
I
guy I
almost
work with.
forgot. Yeah, I remember that. I got Speedy off of his weapon bench charge because I said it was just a prop.
Yeah, if you want to work with anyone with
Oh,
law
God, the prop?
stuff, it's this guy.
Yeah. You know
Yeah,
that
no,
even
Nino's
to
great.
this day, people bring that up to me, trying to make it sound like it was like, you know, objection weird worthy. When all we were saying is they just took a photo of it. They didn't even say, you know, bring it to the lab and say, what is this?
Who was the other lawyer who was articulating the prop argument, though? Because I was
he's
the judge
on,
in that case.
yeah.
And I will tell you, I did go back into chambers and I did bash my head against the wall repeatedly.
Well, because they didn't run any of the evidence. They're just like, here's some photos.
About everything to do with that entire
Oh my
fucking
God.
case.
I remember half the fucking
And then
prosecution walked out.
Then I had a fucking senator come and talk to me about like how I was gonna end up ruling on that case, right? And
Yeah.
then I took all of the heat for that decision. That was not my favorite. That's not my favorite.
So
Yeah.
what ends up happening, right? After I talked to Bailey, right? He's like, okay, I'm like, cool, clear path. My plan was I'm gonna write the legislation, just fuck it. I'm just gonna bang it out, propose something, right? Whatever, just a starting point, whatever it is. And secondly, I'm gonna go speak with like the police department and be like, hey guys, look, last thing you want is, and I'm not trying to like give them like an ultimatum. I'm just kind of painting reality. When I've got clients and the only way for me to get documentation on a timely basis is by filing things to the docket, that's only going to hurt them, right? And so I get told to speak to Slacks. I'm like, hey, Slacks, who do I speak to? He says, don't worry, I talked to Bailey. I have a 15-minute conversation of him just listening, only to tell me at the end all this bullshit, literally just like filibustering for 45 minutes, only to tell me that he has no power. So I'm like, okay, then
look,
who the
look
fuck
at me real
does?
quick.
Yeah.
Look at me. Interim solution.
Yeah.
Come to me for all your FOIA requests. That's right. I will be the new fucking Harper Belmont. God, someone fucking kill me.
Well, it's about to get worse.
Okay.
So I then go talk to Ruby. And Ruby, I appreciated the conversation because she wasn't Slacks. And then after I got done speaking to her, and I sort of like replayed what she said in my mind, I'm like, this piece of shit doesn't actually give a fuck. Because she had the fucking audacity to tell me that it was a civilian who's been working at sanitation's fault for not making sure that the cop actually completed the report. And she had the audacity. I don't know how the fuck this got out about, you know, how I said, like, you know, FOIA isn't in legislation, indicating to me that it's not in law inferring that she doesn't have to do anything, disregarding the fact that the only alternative is I start filing like docket posts, and literally showed me how useless she was. And I know that word can be very looked down upon in Los Santos, but my general state of mind is, if you are not producing, if you are not in a position of power and not finding a way to solve problems, you are useless. You need to be replaced. And my only care is the civilians of Los Santos and those that I represent. I then called Murphy Brown this morning, and the only thing he did was cry like a little fucking pussy and tell me that he did not have time for my FOIAs, that he was mad that lawyers aren't bringing him problems, and that
You're a lawyer. Wait, hold on. While you were bringing him a problem, that's what
exactly.
he's about? What?
And that it wasn't, and he kept painting it as my FOIAs. I'm like, you stupid prick. If you're trying to get Max and Siobhan impeached, which is what he's trying to do because he thinks you're going to kill them or something, how the fuck do you plan on doing that, you dumb motherfucker, if you can't get a FOIA, you stupid prick? And then I ask him, have you actually looked at the process? Do you know how it works? And he said he hasn't done one in the last 7 months. So I'm like, how does your stupid ass spend a 30-minute phone call telling me that this isn't an issue, but the synapses in your brain aren't firing off to say, wait a minute, I'm going to need to FOIA myself in order to do this thing that I'm painting, this magical, like, fucking yellow brick road that's going to lead to fixing all his problems starts with a FOIA. And so the first thing I did after he told me about, like, you guys planning to kill him, was I hope they do. And then I pulled up my MDT and I looked up.
I wasn't
what the
planning on killing him, but
responsibilities-
maybe I should after this conversation.
Well, the beauty is
That's a joke.
that the first thing I did right after that phone call was being so fucking pissed. I looked at the little responsibilities of people on the console, and he failed half of them basically on that phone call. And so I want his job as soon as possible. I'm going to do whatever's necessary. So I'm not going to wait fucking 4 months. The people need this today. Well, not today, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, so I was talking to Alan and Max about this issue earlier, and I was going to start drafting up FOIA stuff to just codify it for legislation.
Thank fucking God.
Yeah. So I was trying to let you know we're gonna fix that, and we're just gonna call it FOIA. We're not gonna be, none of us are as egotistical as Lance Moulton
Oh
is
my
attempting
God,
to name
that should piss me
process
off.
after ourselves. That should piss me off. Too.
Imagine naming something
It's
after
like FOIAs
yourself,
after
and then
yourself, and then
it's
fucking off
dog
and
shit.
phoning it in for 6 weeks after that too,
Oh my
and it's
God.
dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so like, Siobhan, it's like it's just like, how is 7 months gone by, and like Murphy and them, like, no one's been like, hey guys, like, we can't get this shit. Like, do people not know how to communicate and like do problem solving? Like, it just hurts my fucking brain. It's like so many individuals are just complicit between the ass chief and Slacks and like all these people just passing the buck. Like, brother, like if anybody gives me a call and is like, hey, I'm having this issue, isn't it like common decency, regardless of having power, to just be like, let's help figure this out, right? Not it's his fault or her fault or their fault or this person's fault.
Yep.
We're supposed to be rebuilding the fucking place.
Resolution oriented rather than blame game.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ. Anyway, sorry.
People like to complain more than they like to fix things.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
So-
I agree.
You have gotten me off the ledge of the building.
Yeah, are you
with
off
what
the
you said.
warpath?
Yeah.
There is a person with a bar license who's not an asshole.
Yeah.
Give me.
There's a lot of good lawyers. They're
There
broken,
are.
Siobhan. They are so broken. Some of them don't even want to wake up. And because they just keep getting stonewalled. I did not like the way that those officers were protecting themselves off the back of paperwork. That just doesn't rub me the right way. I mean, some of these guys, like, think about it. Imagine you've been working as a civilian for the past 5 months and you get jammed up with a warrant you can't fight. You know, it's like, what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Have you
Anyways.
ever there's this like thing that Empress Josephine, who is the wife of Napoleon, said because she used to have salons with all the
I want to
philosophers
see
there,
that
and
TV show.
right, me too. And Voltaire would hang out in her salon regularly, and one day Voltaire's doing his fucking nihilism bullshit, like critiquing everything, right? And then she's just like looks at him and she's like, Monsieur Voltaire, you tear down everything, but what do you leave in its place?
Really?
It's really easy. Yes, it's really easy to tear things down. It's much more difficult to actually build something.
Um.
I hate termite people. They consume. They don't create anything.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It bores me, you know. Like I love talk. I'm a yapper, but yapping needs to come with action. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's just
Totally.
wind. I want to throw you some ideas I had for the FOIA. And here are my recommendations. And I'm going to justify each and every one. And some of these I may forget some of them, but these are some of the important ones. I think any
Let me open a
individual.
window.
Yep, absolutely.
Sorry.
You don't smoke inside?
I'm really near the fire.
You ever asked for a cigarette by any chance? You know,
Of course I do.
I've been so stressed, I haven't smoked in a week and a half. Can you believe that?
No, you
Don't
can
quit.
smoke inside. It's fine. I just normally smoke near the fireplace because I can just blow it into the chimney. Just because we're in the kitchen.
So
Wait, have either of you seen inside? You haven't been in here before.
I have not. No.
Okay, I'll give you a tour after we're done talking.
Okay.
You'll have to see the upstairs.
Now, given the fact that you are law enforcement, some of this you may not jive with, but then again, it's going to give you. You probably have some unique perspective seeing both.
I
ends of the
still have a
spectrum.
defense lawyer heart, and the reason I became a defense lawyer is because a cop ran me over, and nobody cared. So, I still have my roots.
Good shit. So, any individual that has been processed, any suspect that has been processed, the associated report should be completed within 48 hours.
I agree.
My argument
48 hours.
is as follows: is that if you process them, you needed the probable cause, which means the evidence and the statements are already there. The counter argument
What the
provided.
fuck was that?
Wait,
What the fuck was what?
You ate like a Minecraft spider.
Oh.
What was that? You eating?
Yes. That's how I eat.
Oh
Did that scare you? I'm sorry.
no, I just my bad. Sorry.
So 48 hours is beyond reasonable given the fact that upon processing, they need the probable cause, which means the statements and the evidence that's entered should be sufficient to be producible, probably within a couple hours of the arrest. But you know what? We'll give them 48 just in the event that there's any suspects that may have gotten away and they need to add a couple things. The counter argument that has been provided by Ruby York, as well as Slacks, is a bunch of bullshit about like people might go to sleep, end up in ICU. My counter to that is, well, if you're ICU'd, your statement doesn't mean jack shit. Because quite frankly, I think that's why things spiral out of control. Because if you've been shot the fuck up, your statement should be useless, and that's probably a bigger conversation with the judges, etc. Because if you've been absolutely destroyed with gunfire, well, then your statement should not be applicable to begin with. And if you fall into the bucket of deciding to go to sleep, because you didn't want to write a statement, that's not my client's problem. That is not the problem of the people. That is, you have individuals that are going to a shootout and decide to go to sleep and not finish up their work within 48 hours. I don't think it takes a very long time to write a statement. If this statement was that valuable, well, then why did you process them to begin with? Because inherently you wouldn't have the probable cause to be pressing the charges to begin with. Now, any statements that are required beyond that to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in the case of an appeal, etc., well, then you have plenty of time during discovery from the time of processing to the time the discovery ends, given if a appeal were to go through. So I think we're on the same page on the 48
I think we're on the
hours.
same page. Yeah, I know. I think 48 hours is personally reasonable. Honestly, I'm going to say this right now. We're all fucking adults. Get your shit done in 48 hours. You know what excuses are for? Children. I'm not interested in that.
Yep, agreed. Next, warrants are something that should be fall in the same category. Very similar to an arrest. In fact, more so. Actually, I'm going to go further. I think a warrant should require 24 hours. Maybe even, and that's me being lenient, I think a warrant should be foilable at the moment it's issued. Because warrants have historically, unless things have changed, need to have like a bench standard, which is why they get bench reviewed, which is in the Constitution, which means that if the probable cause is not there, it's going to get thrown out anyways. So inherently, they should, the moment you request it, the moment it is up, the moment you have put it up, you are stating, we have all the evidence and statements necessary to go to a bench trial and fight this.
We've
So
never
therefore-
historically, like, allowed defense attorneys to argue warrants or subpoenas. One time I got tricked into a case doing just that. It was horrible.
Wait, but it's in the Constitution though? The bench reviews? The warrant?
Yeah, there is a bench review, but we haven't like the bench review is the litmus test of rights. We haven't allowed like defense lawyers to typically like try to fight those in a court of law, right?
Oh, you're saying like this is a new
Historically.
thing. Oh,
it is
sorry.
new. It is new. I'm not saying that
sorry.
we shouldn't do it
Yeah,
as new.
I
I'm just
think
saying
I'm-
historically, right? We haven't done that. You're just saying that we should be able to.
You're 100% correct. I actually,
Okay, I
I
just
think
wanna
I
make
like
sure I understood.
mixed two thought
Okay.
processes together. What I
I
meant
see.
was
No, I see what you were doing. That's why I was
his-
clarifying.
historically, those warrants needed to be of the standard of being.
Yes, it was a very high
bench-
standard.
Very high standard. So
Mhm, mhm.
therefore, if it's issued, that means it's already completed and therefore should be producible into a FOIA. Now, the reason for this is rather simple, because if a lawyer is able to get access to what the hell the warrant's about, well, they can now convince their client to turn themselves in. There may be some problems with it, and they can go and get it reviewed and point them out to the judge during said review, among other things. I'm actually unsure what the justification or reasoning behind not being able to FOIA a warrant is, which is the
I think you should
what-
be able to.
yeah. I don't know why it was. I don't even know who owns this thing now. So you know what? Fuck it.
It's
It should be
been
just
decentralized
legislation.
ownership. It hasn't been like somebody owns it the way like Belmont did in the past.
Oh
I am offering to own it like Belmont did in the past.
hell yeah. Was
So
there
that I can make
something
sure that
else?
this is standardized and good. I'm awake. God knows how many hours every fucking day. I should be able to get to everybody within a reasonable amount of time. You know, you put in your FOIA request, it's within the 48 hours. I'm thinking a 24-hour turnaround time on FOIAs.
Yeah. Okay. Boom.
Right? I think that's reasonable. Right?
I
you
think
put in the
so.
request, a 24-hour turnaround time, like it should be fine.
And I think we blanket it right there. To be honest, I think
Right.
any more. Why would you ever need more than 48 hours? I think I genuinely do not know of anything other than like the ICU excuse. But I'm honestly gonna stand my ground on if you were shot the fuck up, right? Okay, I'm gonna enter. This is actually great because Yeager's here. So there's been a lot of shootings. My understanding is that it's been fucking World War II. And I've done a lot of thinking while getting this, and let's pose a hypothetical.
Wait a second. When did you speak to Murphy about this?
This morning.
Early today?
I can tell
When
you
he could have
2 hours
fulfilled your
ago.
FOIA request?
Siobhan, we
Oh my god.
in less time in this conversation, we have done more than he'd. This guy's so fucking useless. I want him gone or dead. I don't really give a fuck. Like he is the most useless piece of meat that I've spoken to in the last 2 weeks. Voting for him was a massive mistake.
Over Surge?
Over Surge?
That was the options. It was Murphy or Surge in the runoff.
Well, I would if I could take it back. If I could take it
Go
back.
back and vote for Surge.
Siobhan, that phone call was so bad. It was so bad. There was no processing of words that was taking place. It was like talking to someone that just got done listening to My Chemical Romance for 3 hours. Like
Oh my god.
it's crazy. It's like you're technically like representative. What the fuck? There's only 3 of us. Like, you know, there's not that many lawyers, right? Like, what the fuck, man?
You know, the problem with Murphy is that Murphy's still in love with me.
I don't.
That's the problem. All of his fucking petulance that he makes everybody else's problem and whatever, all that shit like that. The way he lashes out at people, the way he's not paying attention. Also, I think he's out of weed right now, so you can pretty much tell if he's out of weed or not because he's a fucking miserable bastard to be around without it. Yeah.
So
just I'm gonna say I'm gonna help. I'm gonna take care of this. It's not really my purview technically.
fuck
you know,
it. Who cares?
Taking the heat for Murphy and the PD, but god damn it, if I don't have Spider-Man's values, who else will? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. I
To whom
would,
much is given, much is expected.
to make it seem less odd and more politically sound, maybe we both present it together, sort of thing. So it's like
I need you to speak to Alan Crane. Alan really wanted to speak with you, and I do think you need to speak with him.
I sent him an email. He's watering his plants. So as soon as he's done, he's gonna
Classic
give me a
Sims
call.
response.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I wanted to paint with here was and this is a bit separate, and this is more of a Crane conversation. Why am I getting indications that the testimony of officers that have been shot up is being held to the same standard as a officer that was not? The reason I asked this question, and this is kind of a bit of a odd one, is I do not remember a time ever where if a officer was shot up, they could be on the ground making statements for detainments, arrests, and etc. Let alone the assistant chief suggesting that someone could wake out of ICU after a massive shootout and regardless of whether they can recollect it, that this statement would have any veracity. This brings up 2 concerns for me immediately. One is, why would you hold that to any real standard? Because who knows what the fuck state their mental was in at the time prior to and after it. And secondly, by allowing such a thing, in my mind, creates let's say a perpetual back and forth, endless conflict. Are y'all picking up on what I'm trying to say here? I know this is a little odd.
You're being abstract, but I'm
yeah.
picking up what you're putting down. Continue.
And
I don't know.
almost want to see some legislation that inherently reduces the value of testimony from any injured parties, regardless of whether they are law enforcement or not.
I think that people who are shot should still be able to give statements because those are victims a lot of the time.
Agree.
Even if they're not officers, I think their statements need to be valued. Are you saying like think about that? Hold on. If you
True.
walked out of the apartments and all of a sudden there's I'm like thinking Old Republic for a second because this was actually run of the mill. There might be a fucking gang war going on and you walked out at the wrong fucking time and now you just got a bullet in the head. Are you saying that person shouldn't have a statement and shouldn't be able to get restitution? Because it sounds like that would be the slippery slope, right? That you would go down with that, and I'm just concerned.
No, I'm going to be a bit more nuanced. I think that this statement should be taken, but I think is veracity
You're saying it
the
shouldn't
right
be weighed
word?
as heavily.
It should
No, you're
not
saying
be
you're saying that you
weighed
shouldn't.
as
You're
heavily.
saying that there is possible bias, right, from somebody who wants justice because they've been wronged and wrong
Yes.
party, right, and that the not veracity per se, but like their bias should be weighed differently
Correct.
or less of less evidentiary value than another's by judges.
Precisely.
I don't think they should. I don't think they should always. I think it's going to come down to the individual in question, right? I think different people are going to be up there and they're going to be capable of different degrees of impartiality in their testimony.
I agree. I
And
think
I think it's on a case by case basis. What we have right now that is an issue to me, Nino, that does meet that point is that there is an inconsistency from the judiciary.
I agree, and that's why I think it requires legislation. Now, there's two aspects that I think legislation should close the loop on. The first is time value. So the first contention I had with this ICU wake up thing is there's already, I mean, you're probably familiar with this, is there's been studies done that witness testimonies are completely useless. Because they did a study where, like, you know, someone will, like, they'll do like a classroom and someone busts in with a gun, and then they'll ask the witnesses, like, hey, what were they wearing? And none of them can do it because of the shock value.
Eyewitness testimony is famously unreliable. In other
Yes.
jurisdictions in the US, they actually train officers to say, drop your gun when they discharge their firearm, regardless of whether or not the individual had a gun, because eyewitness testimony will literally change and rearrange their memory
Yes,
to say that they
absolutely.
had a gun when asked for it based on the officer saying that.
Absolutely.
Fucking wild,
So
right? It's fucking
inherently, if someone were to wake up from ICU 5 days later, ignoring the medical aspect of it, they're trying to make a statement 5 days after the fact. So the credibility of that statement is already going to be in question just due to the time duration. The second bit,
I'm gonna be real. I think that I think it's the defense lawyer's job to attack the credibility of witnesses on the stand. I think it's quite literally your job to attack that credibility
you
and
know
to
what?
draw that reasonable doubt.
I agree with that. I agree with
Right?
that.
I think it is the defense lawyer's job, and I'm wondering if there aren't parts of this that can't be handled by setting precedent. Now, we need the judiciary to not be afraid of setting precedent, and that's been an issue. They're like, there's no precedent, so I'm just gonna abide by things that I've always known, as opposed to having the fucking balls and creativity
Yes.
of doing new precedent.
Absolutely.
And that has been pissing me off to no fucking end. Because
That-
that's what Alan wanted.
And that's what they should do. Like, so, oh my God, that's. I'm glad you brought that up because that was the third topic. So the second thing, just to close the loop on this, because I am leaning on your side now with maybe it's the defense attorney's job, is that if a officer is shot up, I'm giving a hypothetical here, and they issue a call of arresting someone. Okay, you know what? Actually, I'm going to take it back. I think that's a bigger
Right,
conversation.
that's a bigger
beyond
issue.
this.
That's a bigger conversation.
Yeah, that's a bigger conversation.
It's always going to be a
completely
case-by-case
table that.
basis,
You know what?
right?
I'm
Table
going to
that for
agree with
later.
you. Let's
Okay.
not even bother with this thing. I think let's leave it to defense attorneys. Now let's
Okay.
open that third can of worms because I'm glad you did.
Okay.
These fucking, like, there's all this precedent that's apparently being set in like random docket things, and there needs to be like a thing, like on the legislative tab that just like fucking puts
There
it
needs
in
to be
there.
some like published record of case law, like that precedent that's
Yeah.
being established as common law. There needs to be a common law.
The
tab
judges
or
used to
something,
be
right?
lawyers. We write shit all day.
Yup,
So
that's our bread and
why
butter.
can they not, like, at the end of the case,
They have a
hey,
verdict written.
15 minutes, go slap it up like in
Yep,
like a one
everybody else has to do
document.
the reports, right?
Yeah, because if it's not written, it's not law. So I don't know how anyone's even calling some of what exists precedents, because if it's
Pure
like
fucking
what?
like it's that DOJ. Okay, let me just be real. You know, it's that DOJ tribal knowledge, right?
That's not good.
And that I know it's not good because that DOJ. What does a DOJ tribal knowledge do rather than having it like clearly defined somewhere?
Yeah.
It makes it more difficult for newcomers, right? It creates gatekeeping.
Agreed. It's like a software engineer that knows how one of like 50 components work, and he doesn't tell anyone or doesn't let anyone to touch it. Now they got a job for life. But everyone else suffers. And then the company falls over. And the guy dies.
He does. Jesus. God,
Okay. This has been a very good conversation. There's probably
good. I'm
other
glad you
shit.
feel that way.
But that's my biggest thing. I genuinely, Siobhan, I don't understand how anyone's been able to practice law the last 7 months. And just I don't know. I don't know.
My last court case as a defense
Turtle,
lawyer,
thank you
I
for
threw my bar
5
license on the
five
ground
gifted
and walked
subs.
out. I was so fucking upset, and it.
There's something else I'd want to bring up is as the interim, I want to take Murphy's head of opposition. I would want to see felons or some kind of ability for rehabilitation through ex-felons or current felons being lawyers again.
Wait, say it again.
A path of redemption for felons to become lawyers. Now I don't want to enumerate how that would look like, but think of it
A prison
like
library.
yeah, something like that. So like I'm gonna use an extreme. Let's use Jaeger for example. Let's say Jaeger goes and I don't know, shoots up a bunch of cops, and he's like, you know what, fuck this, man. Like, you know, whatever. I think like give him a little bit of time, and there should be a path by which he can redeem himself.
Well, I have a diversion program for like first-time felons, right?
Yeah,
to
well,
divert that.
let's say worse than that. Let's say he's done it a couple times. You know what I mean? And the reason I'm even proposing this is, the idea is to put people on a different track, right? Because one path would be they go and work sanitation until 30 days and get like, what is it, like $100,000 or whatever? Think of it as like an alternative path.
Oh my God, are you trying to give like, hey, felons, you can work as a lawyer if you do all of these things? I would only agree to that. I'm gonna say this right now. I would only agree to that if they had the exact fucking insane limitations that I had as a paralegal with the lawyer training.
I think that'd be good. I think it should be a step program.
I think it is good. I think
it's
listen,
like XP,
it made me
you know?
who I am. I think it's good.
Yeah.
92 days spent inside of City Hall unless I was shadowing a lawyer or a judge.
Yep, absolutely.
Just reading legislation and finding ways to entertain myself.
It's
and
like
other
these
people's
civ
games.
job like bosses, right? Like, you know, you give them, hey, you did it for this month. You did these things. All right, you leveled up. And then eventually, oh, hey, you're not a felon anymore. You can skip all this. And you know what the benefit is to the city? You got rid of a felon and you produced a lawyer who probably is going to make a pretty damn good one because the guy was, you know, killing cops and have seen all kinds of shit. Now, like I said, I don't know what that framework will look like, but it's a avenue that is of interest because some of these lawyers, Jesus fucking Christ.
What's the difference between getting an expungement?
I was gonna go that way.
What's the difference between getting an expungement and getting a job as a lawyer?
Carrot and stick. You know what I mean?
An incentive, I guess.
Yeah, it's like an incentive, right? So it's like, hey, don't do that sanitation thing. You like lawyering shit? Hey, start over here as this paralegal. Okay, you're producing. All right, you know, let's give you a little bit more. Like, you know, at the end of it, is I think my impression is that a lot of people, that path exists, but all these fucking fishes and whatever, they need a little bit more like carrot.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, I think it's a waste of fucking time, you know, for me. Because, like,
well, yeah.
From my experience, rehabilitation didn't work, but I don't see why it would be a bad idea. I mean, if it helps someone, then why not do it?
Yeah.
If it gives a chance to help someone, why not?
Yeah. 1000%. Well, shit. This has been very
we need
productive.
more fucking lawyers.
We do need more lawyers.
I'm gonna be real. There's one that I know of, and it's Damien. He wants to quit.
Yeah.
So,
this FOIA thing is going to solve a lot. And getting rid of Murphy. What a fucking useless fucking rat. I want to... The fact that I have had all these lawyers reach out to me in the past 2 weeks, and this guy doesn't know a single thing, it has my blood boiling to an utmost degree. Because to me, he failed all of us, and that includes the civilians, that he's responsible for. Obviously, the mayor is in one aspect, but the guy who's leading all the lawyers that he had to protect and serve, like you know, through defense, it's just no. All right.
I mean, I don't know specifically. Look, I'll be the first
Nino
to say
is so
I
mad
really
at
don't
Murphy.
know shit about the law or anyone practicing it, because you know we just stay up here. But what's the? If I had to guess, right?
Mhm.
and I don't mean this. I don't mean offense to any lawyer.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but if you're spending that much time, uh, basically making the city a better place for people, uh, I would think that maybe if they had that, you remember that app on the phone we used to have where people could like see and like, oh
The
hey,
DOJ app?
yeah,
We need
like
the DOJ app so bad. And if we had the
Agreed.
DOJ app, we could have case law there.
now I'm not gonna say people are superficial because I don't know, and some people probably don't care, and I don't even think it's bad if you do care about stuff like this. But being able to open up that DOJ app and seeing like your name there, it's like you have your own little special app, and you know people can see that, they can see that you're there and ready to help them. I think that is pretty interesting. I don't know if they care about that kind of shit, but I having to check the lemon list for a lawyer like any other fucking loser selling fucking dirty cash and you know other garbage. I feel like that DOJ app was like more sophisticated, you know?
Yeah, I would definitely
I've been
agree.
asking for the DOJ app since December.
Like you're literally filtering
Oh,
through trash to go
lawyer
find a lawyer.
pay.
Yes.
Is there any what? Why is lawyer pay not gone up? Do you know?
Max
about
raised
that?
it as much as he could, as he had the
Mm.
ability to do so. We had voted to raise it before. This was before I was on the council. This was when Juno was still chief of staff. And Lance fought really hard to get that 7 in front of lawyer pay, and you would not believe how everyone was all like, "I don't think lawyers are gonna make that much money. They just stand around." Yeah, they are 24/7 on call and can't do other things that make infinitely more money, so they are available should somebody need them to make sure their due process is preserved. But fuck those people who literally give up having their own lives to
1000%.
not be conflicted, right?
Yeah.
Fuck those people who don't live their own fucking lives and literally live a life of public service. Just fuck them.
Like right here, right? Just to like what I was talking about to make it make more sense, right? I'm trying to find a lawyer, okay? Typically, you want someone sophisticated. You want the Ninos. You want the Lobsters, whatever, right? But
hey,
to go find
Hey, I was figure I need to talk to you because I heard a whole bunch of shit from a whole bunch of people, and I don't trust people unless I hear from them.
That's why I love you.
So what's happening? Where you at?
I'm up in Polito right now with
Sickrick is actually
Siobhan
pretty
and
good,
Yankee.
and so is Uriel, by the way.
Oh, the Castle Day Thoroughbred.
You could say that.
I got you.
Give me 5
I'll be
minutes.
by in a little bit.
Oh, you coming up?
Yeah, I know where it is. I've been there before. Their goddamn poker table and sex swing and all that. They show you the sex swing?
No, we've been.
Oh yeah,
we've been
Well,
actually
that makes
working.
sense.
You know.
All right. I'll see you in a little bit.
All right. See you in a bit. This is Crane.
Alan's coming! Hooray!
I don't think lawyers are superficial. I don't even think it's bad to want like to have an app and have your name up there looking all nice and shit. But like right now, before I got to the first lawyer, which was Nino in the lemon list, this is the kind of shit I scrolled through. Buying USB for my porn, fucking selling dirty laundry, fucking literal. Just I'm scrolling. Cowboy man, I am scrolling through a fucking. I am scrolling through a fucking bathroom stall that's been graffitied on to get a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Like, at least with the DOJ app, you go there, it's sophisticated, you see it, and you can understand that you're probably not calling someone that lives in a dumpster.
Oh, 100%.
True. You know that they're not some asshole living in a dumpster.
I do think that, as I sort of think about this, oh, that was quick.
Well, that's a lawyer. Sorry. He needed to sleep here. He's gonna crash upstairs. Don't mind him.
Oh.
Hey, Uriel, go upstairs, okay? I'm having a meeting. Just go pass out.
So as I kind of thought about this, is that
so he needed a place to crash.
Oh, gotcha. I as I kind of think about this, maybe the pay doesn't need to be raised, but alternatively, a budget set aside, and in order to ensure work is being produced, there was some sort of, even if it was like, you know, a fucking form or something, where you had to like keep tabs, like, you know what I mean? Produce the FOIA, went to bench trial, whatever it is. And you kind of get paid out on bounty style, right? Because as we were talking about this, I did realize, okay, I'll name, there's a couple lawyers I know that are putting in work, but some of these motherfuckers are literally sitting in front of a potted plant all day, which to me is not worth
Are
the
you
money.
shit talking Roman right now?
I don't know. I don't think I met Roman.
Names.
I don't know him like that. You know what I mean? Like
I
I've talked to a
wanna
lot
know.
of them. I don't know them by
I
name.
want their names.
Again,
But you get what I'm saying though, right? Like
Yes.
you know, it's I think a system that would reward because once again, if you're doing law, you're producing things, you should have zero problem to fucking pull up like a little Google form and be like, name of the person, what did you do for them, and you get paid for it, right? So production equals value. Cell rep, bench trial, FOIA
Okay, so you think
request, boom,
lawyers
boom,
should
boom.
get paid like they used to in the Old Republic, where so judges are getting paid like per bench trial versus docket case or whatever, and you
Yeah.
think lawyers should have their own spiff system too
Something
for
like
those who
that.
do work?
And then I think it'd be
From-
valuable for like actually reviewing, because I'll give you an example, right?
You could keep the hourly low then.
Yeah, keep the hourly low. Exactly. I think it's like 700 right now. Now, obviously, someone could abuse that kind of system, but like honestly, that's something that at least because it's tracked and logged. So Crane thought I wasn't doing shit. Reality was that I was around for God knows how long. Just no one was calling me down to the cells. I looked.
Okay, but they weren't
unproductive.
calling anyone down to the cells because they weren't catching anybody. They
Yes.
had like a
Oh,
3% or
Oh,
less.
trust me,
It was
I trust me. I
travesty,
saw that,
right?
and I thought there was scuff involved. But like,
No.
But like
No!
low key, I'm over here like, I mean, as you've seen, I've been fucking cooking. You know, I got 2 paralegals that I'm training up right now who came to me and they were like, you know, they're like, oh yeah, can you bring me down to like a fucking cell rep? I'm like, no, what the fuck? No, fuck you. Here, I want you to go make an argument for why we need FOIA. Go read up on this. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot that I think some will do, and then others won't. And I think this is a great way to track it. And then whoever's in charge of picking new lawyers, whatever, needing to get rid of them, they can look at that and be like, what have they been doing? Who's been producing and who hasn't? So, anyways.
Okay, so you want like an actual system able to track who's a productive lawyer versus
Yes.
who might just be phoning it in?
Yeah, I think the system that's used to pay bounties, right? You get paid based on that production, but it can, as a secondary use, be used for, you know, whatever Crane and company in charge of maybe head of bar can decide.
I mean,
Crane's
could they
outside.
not just get paid for like every win they get in court?
No, that's a dangerous precedent to set.
You will never end up with serial killer defense lawyers, and God forbid
Yeah.
the day we end up with serial killers in the city again, because I don't know if I'll be able to resist the call.
Who gives a fuck about serial killers?
I love defending them.
So, sure, I get it, but is it an incentive that might make people care a bit more? Because, like, I'm gonna be honest, from my experience, lawyers didn't get paid shit, and I don't even mean by
They
the
never
state.
have.
I mean by the people that hire them.
They
right?
never have. Yeah.
So unless someone is individually like trying to take care of their lawyer, like, I don't know.
I think that's where like so
Lawyers
the
made
reason I
least
got a
in the
hot
city in the Old
outside.
Republic, and they were at the beginning of this one too. Sorry, I just want to say that. Like they've
Yeah.
literally been like the shafted. They will always, forever be the redheaded stepchild of government.
A good like I've already made 50,000 like 2 days, right? Just fall for retainer fees and shit like that. I think if someone had a serial killer case and they're broke as shit, right? Like I don't know. Like I'm not too I get what you're saying. I think that's definitely one to consider. I don't know. I would just be I don't know. I got to think on that. Crane's outside, by the way.
My opinion should not be held to a high standard because I don't know shit about
Crane,
the law.
let me go
Or
No.
anyone
Your
that works in
opinion's
it.
huge, Jaeger.
But
Because
I can tell you for a fact that every lawyer that I've had did not get paid shit. I gave one of them $100,000 one time for like a big court case win, and they almost vomited because they've never seen that much money before.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, Jaeger's here too.
What's up, Crane?
So, all right, Crane. I gave Siobhan the whole like top down.
I told him he needs to speak with you, so I'm glad you're here.
So, my adventures started with. I'm gonna give you the short version, and feel free to deep dive into what you want me to expand on.
Are you saying anything, Crane?
No, I'm listening.
Okay.
Um,
Kind of a dick. I said, "Hey, what's up?" You didn't say anything, but whatever.
Oh,
He's
hello.
old. He probably
Whatever.
didn't hear you.
so,
Living
Put
at
on
my house.
AirPods.
so, I got a call from Fiona Stewart. She was a
You wear
victim.
pants?
Am I?
No.
Oh, him.
No. Okay. All right. I'm just checking.
I get a phone
Continue.
call from Fiona
Stewart,
Stewart. She's a victim. I go into Mission Row PD, try to request a FOIA. There is no report associated to her incident. And so I move on to the next thing, which is request a victim statement be made, as well as
She
a
a victim of
recording.
what?
She was a victim of being forced into becoming a hostage in a robbery by the police department. Yep.
What?
Yeah. Yep. Oh.
So
oh,
what? When was this?
2 weeks ago.
Do you know what it was? Cash exchange.
Oh, cash exchange.
Did any of the robbers get caught?
We don't know because there's no report.
Siobhan?
That might be Fiona. That might be Fiona.
That me.
Gonna get back.
Don't worry about it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on.
So- But it's fine. Like you know, regardless of what the outcome of that was.
what was the date of it?
I'd have to double check my notes.
Okay.
But let's not
So
deep
anyway.
dive too deep into that because it goes a little bit beyond the point. And trust me, that's not the worst thing I'm dealing with right now. So I do the next logical thing, which is look to produce a victim statement. I speak to a dispatcher. The dispatcher doesn't really give a shit, and she is like, "Well, I'm not giving you this for 5 days, just out of the blue, not just unprovoked." And we get into a little back and forth where I end up calling her useless.
By giving you what?
So the victim statement, she wasn't willing to produce me a copy of it for 5 days.
Why?
I don't know. I ask her, and she gets really pissed, and she won't give me a reason why, and so I call her useless. So she calls Siobhan, calls Murphy.
Who was the dispatcher?
Jalen.
Okay,
Caitlin?
yeah.
And this was in front of the victim, which is why I was heated to begin with, because why show this behavior, right? Like, bringing in someone that's like coming in asking for help. This is how you drive people away from the police department and say skip, And so that gets handled. I eventually get it like 2 days later. It is what it is. I then that same night, because I want to be prepared from a legal perspective that if I get this kind of pushback in the future that leads to negative consequences for my clients, I have something to lean back on, whether it's like a civil lawsuit or criminal lawsuit, whatever it is. As it turns out, I learned that the molten process isn't in legislation. It's simply a guideline. And therefore, if let's say I didn't get something in 5 days, there's no legal recourse for my clients. And so I'm like, well, shit. I then go deep dive it a little bit further. I speak to 4 judges after the Soze case. We talk about it. They say, it's going to be a consult thing. It's going to be a Murphy Braun thing. I'm like, I bet. I'm trying to call Murphy. He's busy with other shit. In that next 2 days, while I'm trying to contact him and he won't answer my calls, I have clients that I'm tempted to get other FOIAs for. I try to get about 7 FOIAs. Each one is, I'm being told, I can't give it to you. It's not 5 days yet. It's a warrant. All this bullshit. And so now I'm speaking to Bailey, and I'm like, Bailey, bro, what the hell, man? I can't get any of this stuff. Like, how is any lawyer actually
All right,
functioning?
hold on. So what are you? Rewind. How did we go from dipshit dispatcher not giving you a victim impact form to how does any lawyer get anything?
Yes. So after that incident, I am then presented with 7 other clients in a span of 48 hours where I am not able to get FOIAs on warrants, on incidents that they have been clients that have been processed already.
Okay, well, hold on. So, so for warrants, some of those may have delayed notice. There's a separate process for those in legislation where if there's no delayed notice, they have to be given the warrant within 72 hours.
Oh, you're the first one to tell me that. I was being told flat out no.
Who told you no and what circumstances?
Slacks, Ruby York, the dispatchers who were told, they're all telling me that. So let me just go through the timeline real quick. So and it'll make the conversation a little bit easier. I then spoke to Bailey, who directed me to the consul and Murphy. I said, I bet. I then get in a conversation with Slacks, who was in a conversation with Bailey, and said he's going to handle it from the PD side. And I'm like, okay. I speak with Slacks for 45 minutes, in which I said, brother, we can't, why can I not get these things produced? Let's find a middle ground until, like, this legislation that I've been led to believe that they don't even need to produce anything gets figured out. Like, can you work with me a little bit? Because my only recourse is to go and push things to the docket to ensure that a report is written. In this same 48-hour time period, I'm being told by multiple lawyers that they also are not getting the FOIAs. One of them tried to get a FOIA that took 45 days.
Hold on.
Yep.
I need you to walk it back.
Okay.
I can only work off of individual things. Generalizations don't help me. So
Okay.
So first thing, warrant. What warrant did you ask for?
Let me see. Wendell Santana.
All of these processes should be
Mohammed Momin.
Okay, hold on.
Yep.
So now pause. Are you talking about a search warrant or an arrest warrant?
Arrest warrant.
Okay, arrest warrants are not subject to FOIA.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, so what were you seeking to get?
So what I was seeking to get, okay. According to the Moulton process, I understand that incidents and warrants are not subject to FOIA. But
Incidents are subject to FOIA. That is incorrect. Incidents are subject to FOIA if the incident has concluded and is 5 days past the incident occurring.
Hold on, let me pull this up.
If you're about to read to me that it says report and not incident, don't bother. That's semantics. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
They know that they can FOIA incidents.
Crane.
They know they can provide you incidents as well. The only exception to not giving you either an investigative report that you know exists based on your client being involved and it being disclosed to you somehow, or a incident report in which your client is a party to, is if one, there is an ongoing investigation, such as the investigative report is ongoing.
I don't think he's comprehending that the fucking cops don't know this.
Or two, the incident is so fresh that it has not reached the whatever number of days window in the Moulton process.
Okay.
But once it reaches that number of days, they are required to hand it out to you if there are no outstanding suspects, et cetera, et cetera.
I love everything you're saying right now, Crane, right? However, this is not what the PD is telling me.
Okay, so
now I'm
going to start taking notes then. So you need to tell me, number one, what did you ask for that they told you they could not give you that you have, that I just told you have the right to have?
In a 2-hour time span between a Slacks conversation and a Ruby conversation, the topic of it's not even in legislation came up,
Who
and
said that?
both of them. Now I discovered this
As
on
an
my own
excuse to
accord.
why they wouldn't give it something to you?
Correct.
And
It
what were
sounded like
not
they
gonna
didn't.
give you?
None of these things. They
So first off, you said Wendell Santana, which was
Yeah.
an arrest warrant.
correct.
Okay, which they're not required to give you. So
Yeah.
that's out the door, period. So what did you request from them that they are required to give you that they didn't?
Well, we mentioned Fiona Stewart.
Okay, so Fiona,
I don't have a list, Crane. I don't have
Okay.
a list of all these clients. So if you're
Sure,
gonna ask me
sure.
for each one, I don't got it. I
So-
can only
so
tell you
Fiona-
that.
Fiona, for example, is in bad faith, which is probably just the dispatcher.
Yeah.
Because if you are there making a report and they then write the report and you ask for a copy, there is no reason they should not give that to you. That's just like common
So,
sense, common courtesy, being a human being.
Before we dive into this, who is responsible for this guideline that is not legislation?
So when we
And why are there two copies?
had the restructuring, there was a FOIA, like a rough FOIA process in place, which was just general leftovers from how things used to be done. Malton took feedback from numerous attorneys and constructed an optimized, better system with a limit.
It
on the
sounds
number of
like
days they
Crane
could
had a
delay to
conversation
write
in
the
his
reports or
maid
whatever.
site, which is
And
like
made it very
he's
straightforward,
speaking
which is literally what I said, which is
like he
regardless
knows
of
the
whether or not
answers
cops
already.
have done their time to write the reports or whatever, they have, and they know they are on notice that from the incident's time of taking place, whatever it is, 4 or 5 days, I don't know what's written in the Malton thing. I'm not open my MDT to look.
It's 5 days, and
Okay,
I
5
hate
days.
that.
They
That
have
was
5
not for
days.
lawyers. That was not lawyer feedback, Crane. I do not like that part of Molten. That's all I'll say.
Okay, well, what
It should be less.
what should it be?
I think 3 is reasonable, or 48 hours, and
So
then
wait,
there's a 24-hour
wait,
turnaround
but
time from the
who-
request
who-
that's been put in.
Wait,
So
wait,
it's
wait.
total.
Can we roll it back? Who is responsible for this thing? Who
What do you mean
takes the
responsible?
well? Who takes the like as of right now? If who owns the Molten process? Like who makes the decision on whether like is it 5 days? Is it 3 days? Is it can you FOIA warrants? Can you do like where? Who owns that? Is it because it's not in legislation? There's a copy in the DOJ documents, and then the PD has a
I
separate
went
one.
to the PD in the beginning of the restructure after the rebuilding, after the collapse, and said to them, one of the things we're going to continue with is the FOIA process.
Okay.
And I expect you to abide by that. This is a conversation I had with Slacks and the other captains after the restructuring. And I literally told them, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. And one of the things I expect from you, because they asked me, what are your expectations of us in terms of, process and things? And one of the things I told them is I'm going to expect you to abide by the FOIA process. Now, there are some things that we don't, abide by anymore simply because they were relics of, time gone past. And, we're doing away with those things and starting anew.
Okay. Absolutely.
So
I understand how it came into place, Crane.
So I literally told them, you're going to honor the FOIA process. Malton is taking feedback and he's going to formalize it in a DOJ document for the lawyers. And you're going to be given a copy of that. And that's where we're going to run from. Now, if there's this,
He
much
keeps
confusion,
skirting the.
then I'll just sit down at a fucking desk with
Yeah.
a flickering candle, with a fucking, feather tipped fucking ink fountain pen, and I'll fucking scribe out exactly the precise language to tell them exactly what they have to do in what time frames. That's fine. I don't care. If that'll solve all this, then so be it. Because at this point, I'm tired of this fucking I'm confused bullshit. Nobody's confused. People are just being pedants, and I'm sick of it.
Thank you. And
did say it was all
that
pedantic.
is exactly the issue. Because I got jerked around by Slacks. I got jerked around by Ruby. And then Murphy Braun doesn't want to do his job. So
Well, much like Deputy Siobhan here, who didn't
Whoa.
respond to 78.
I actually went on radio and made sure that everything was okay, and then they're on scene and everything's fine. I'll have you know.
Yeah.
So
I checked in on that.
So you're here in a police capacity?
Ruby said I should stay on duty for this meeting.
Yeah.
I got her permission.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
so
much like Deputy Siobhan here, Murphy, you know, I think has been enjoying collecting the paycheck lately. So
he is the most useless individual I have spoken to in the last 2 weeks, and I regret being the one of 3 votes for him. The guy's listening to My Fucking Chemical Romance and had the audacity to say, "Why do I care about FOIAs?" While every fucking lawyer is telling me that they're fucking losing their mind.
yeah, well, okay. So let's you know, let's be clear on a couple of things here. First of all, number one, Slacks can't communicate for dog shit. He might as well be speaking fucking Portuguese or something.
Agreed.
Ruby has her own proclivities. She seems fine, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was some circling of the wagons going on, especially given your demeanor.
I have which with all due respect, Crane, you don't know the circumstances that led to that. I have clients, victims, of which I just explained 2 of the incidents to you. If I'm going and getting stonewalled by a police department that is not producing documents, okay, well, I'm not going
to instantly, and the other one wasn't valid.
Right. Well, right, but let's not pretend you were at those conversations. But please continue.
Right. So what I'm saying is that it's a dipshit dispatcher who got pissy with you, probably because you know you didn't just bend over and take it from her like she's used to be able to do to anybody who walks in there. So she probably got annoyed with that. Slacks, who the fuck knows, speaks Portuguese. I don't know probably what conversation happened, but I guarantee you it wasn't accurate in terms of where we are now. I don't know the deal with Ruby. But overall, I don't trust any interpretation of those conversations because, like I said, and like you said, I wasn't there. And half the time, people don't read for shit anyway. So I don't even know what they were arguing based on. They could have not even read the thing and just been arguing with you out of ego. They could have just been telling you no for the sake of you telling you no. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I want to underline something. There was a inference that members of the police department were giving me the SOP documents by them when Judge Bailey handed me a copy of what the PD has, which is how we discovered that there's a discrepancy between the 2.
Well, and that's my other issue.
I was just like,
I don't know why Bailey's acting as like your fucking assistant.
I don't think he is, Crane. Like I said, I've spent, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I spent about like 30 hours on this, simply trying to figure out what is the truth. Like, what is my expectation? And I keep getting like a call center, like, let me transfer you to this guy. Let me transfer to you.
Man, you don't sleep, do you?
Not when there's issues.
Didn't this happen like yesterday and the day before?
Which one?
This whole thing?
No, Fiona started a week and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look,
it got raised to there because I wasn't getting answers.
I mean, at the end of the day, I got my own shit to handle with Bailey. I don't know why he's going around Murphy. I don't know why he's going to the PD.
He wasn't. He directed me to Murphy.
I was told by several people from PD that Bailey was contacting members of high command and telling them that even if the FOIA process was in legislation, it wasn't enforceable because it said report and not incident, and therefore they weren't obligated to give out incidents, which is the type of base level semantic argument that I would expect like a toddler to make. So I'm not really sure what's going on.
Well, that's a problem. Is my entire between Slacks and Ruby. Look, I said, look, can we find a middle ground? Like, can we get these things like to the lawyers in this amount of time? Right? Like, that was literally the conversation, and it felt to me, it kind of Okay, well, Slacks I popped off on. I said, next time you fucking call me for a meeting and you got no power to do anything, don't fucking waste my time. Ruby, on the other hand, was a good conversation, but I think there was like a defensive wall brought up as to what the ulterior motives of these FOIAs was. At the end of the day, I'm just looking for documentation. I want to know what to expect. I want to know who owns it. So if there's issues for it and a reason to petition it, who do I go to? And it sounds
All right,
like
tell you what, let's do an
it's you.
experiment. Let's do an experiment.
Yeah.
I'm going to go drive my rental car up a mountain somewhere where no one can find me, turn my phone off, and write a piece of legislation that combines the PD version and the DOJ version, and make it extra clear so there's no confusion about semantics and no possibility to make bad faith arguments. Why don't you assemble all the things that you wanted them to give you that they didn't?
Me
I
and
will
Siobhan were
respond-
working on that just now.
Yeah, assemble for me the entire catalog that you're looking for, and I will respond line by line to each one and how it applies to the document, and I will use your request lines to fact check my work in,
Perfect.
proof
Nice.
of the
All right.
document.
Easy.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna go drive up a mountain. See you later.
Okay.
All right. Have fun.
All right.
I'm gonna give you a spare key later, Alan.
Fucking weird old man.
To the house.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I wanted to fucking punch him. All right.
Ruby?
Sometimes
Alan.
you gotta.
Ignored me.
Sometimes you gotta
Can't believe he
fucking
was
hold
ignored
your
you.
tongue. Sometimes you gotta fucking hold your tongue to get something done. I think we still give him the document and the recommendations that we had. And did you? Why didn't he answer? So does he own the doc? Like, is he the arbiter
It's
of
the
this?
council. It's the council.
Yeah. So that I was gonna. Was
Right?
it that clear?
Like that. This was like this was actually voted on at a council meeting, and then, I don't think it was published. It was something Moulton just did and put in the place he did. I don't fucking know. I can't speak to Lance's mindset. All
Yeah.
I know is that when he said 5 days, I'm like, that's based on your fucking experience as a commissioner and feedback as an officer. That does not seem like that is lawyer centric. That does not seem like a lawyer centric timeline, Lance. 5 days? Absolutely not. I think it should be shorter.
Did he? But so does he own this process, or does
I
the
mean,
head
Alan
of
owns
bar?
the process of legislating. This
Yeah.
should be head of bar. It should be.
Mm,
Alan owns a process of publishing legislation. Let me rephrase that.
okay.
Council owns a process of legislation. Those are like the easiest ways I just like realize of like articulating the actual articles in the Constitution. It's just like who
The
owns
only
what.
reason I'm like shaky on that is I asked him a direct question 3 times. He didn't really say. So I wonder if there's a little bit more to it that cannot be said. Is the only interpretation I can get from it. All right.
Or who thinks it should be obvious.
Yeah.
That's like I know Alan
no,
really
no,
well,
no.
and
No,
there are
it
some things
can't
where
be.
he's like, I'm not even gonna do that.
I think Alan sometimes has his head in the clouds, right?
I wouldn't say he has his head in the clouds.
Well,
I would say he's
He
pretty
ignored
grounded.
me.
he
did
did
ignore
he
you.
did
Die.
ignore Jaeger.
No, he shouldn't
but-
die, Jaeger. But he should be. Maybe he should apologize. He should.
Yeah,
He should apologize for
so-
ignoring you.
Whatever.
And
I
he-
don't care.
Okay.
So to underline what I mean by that is when you how do I put this? When you're one of the builders, right?
Yes.
You know how the framework is supposed to look like, and you don't
Yes.
recognize that the blueprint you've written is potentially dog shit. And
Whoa! I wouldn't say the blueprint is dog shit.
have you read the Molten process?
That wasn't Alan though. That was Lance.
No. I know. But, you know, as a arbiter of that, right? Because he may have been a part of the conversation. Molten may have shit something out half
Oh,
drunkenly.
I'm sure he was.
And
I mean,
then-
Lance
So
talked
in
to
his
everybody
mind, he
about
knows
that.
what it's supposed to look like, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't look at the words, but he doesn't realize that
Right.
when someone else looks at that
No,
blueprint,
there's bad faith
they're like,
interpretations
what
by
the
the
fuck
PD,
is...
and
yeah.
Murphy, as head of bar, should be taking those complaints about officers and forwarding
Yes.
it through the Civilian Oversight Board. But Murphy doesn't want to do his job. He just wants to twat out, "I miss her" at 1 a.m.
you know, I'm just gonna say
And
it.
decorate his house.
Crane's
on
attitude wasn't that
PvP.
far off from Murphy's, to be honest.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I said it.
What? Wait, say that again. No, I really just, what? You went,
Oh, I said Crane's attitude wasn't that far off from Murphy's.
I think his attitude was completely different from Murphy's.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously wasn't present, so I'm probably going to have to take
Yeah.
your word for it. I just know that Murphy's a miserable old,
Yeah.
well, just miserable.
Yeah. But hey, he's making progress. I do think that we need to give him something written, because I think that warrant thing still needs to be ironed out.
I mean, yeah, you should definitely do what Alan said, 100%.
Yeah.
He's going to go take the time to go sit on a hill somewhere with his phone off.
Yeah. Oh my God. I lost half my train of thought. I'm going to actually give him a call right now.
Murphy?
No, Crane.
Alan. Okay.
Yeah, because we sort of like in the multiple questions he threw my way, we sort of completely hand waved the warrant issue.
Hello.
Hey.
About to turn my phone off. What's going on?
Yeah, no, don't turn it off just yet. Do you want that document sent to you before you start working on this? You're gonna start banging it out before.
No, I'm gonna bang it out. I'm gonna make my draft, and I'm gonna use your document to, like, you know, proof check my draft to see if everything works.
There is one thing I wanted to tackle, which is, before I even go down this route, I'm trying to understand something. Why are warrants not something that can be FOIA'd?
Arrest warrants?
Yes.
Because person's being actively sought?
Okay.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean exactly what I mean. So there's a warrant. Okay, so I'm going to give you a hypothetical, right? Individual has a active warrant.
Right.
They are wanted for X, Y, and Z.
Correct.
Why would a lawyer not be able to FOIA the warrant itself in order to decide whether or not it even requires a bench review, which is a part of the Constitution? Would that not be logically the first step?
No. Bench review happens after the person's apprehended. Before they're charged, after they're apprehended. So here's the steps, okay? Warrants used to just be any cop could have a warrant. That was changed. Now, in order to get a warrant, a member of command must approve the warrant.
Yeah.
So it cannot be the same person. So let's say I, Alan Crane, write a warrant for Nino Chavez. I put in all my evidence, my PC, whatever. I then have to go to my sergeant or my lieutenant or my high command, and I have to get them to review my warrant and then approve it. They have to physically, sign it on the MDT, like check a box. And it records who does that, so they're accountable and responsible. So then once command does that and they stick their name behind it and they agree there's PC and they follow it, then it goes live, and then the person is wanted, and apprehended. Even after that check and balance, there is a second check, which is the person who is apprehended can say, you know what, I know command will go over this, but I think even command is stupid and wrong. So then they can request a judge to look at it. The judge can then decide if there's PC for the warrant on a basic level. If there's not, then the person gets, cut loose and the warrant's, invalidated.
Okay.
And the arrest is invalid. If the judge finds there is PC, then it goes forward. And there's also another middle ground, which is the judge can decide more information is needed, in which he can haul in the person and the cops and ask questions. So that's the process. So there would be no point there where a FOIA would make sense for that, because the document at that point is still an internal PD document and would be subject to redaction. So even if you did file FOIA, it would all be redacted anyway. It'd be the same thing as any other kind of investigative report, incident report, whatever, that was an ongoing investigation. At that point, the means and methods to, why they have the evidence to arrest that person are crucial to getting the arrest on that person to begin with. Once they're in custody, then all that can be disclosed, via the bench trial or whatever their format, right? And they can confront it. but there's no right for them to confront that ahead of the apprehension and review. Otherwise, people could just literally, you know, do a whole number of things with that information.
Right, you're talking about like covering it up or like changing.
There's a million different things, but nonetheless, there are very good reasons why those people should not. Not to mention, we're talking about FOIA, which is basically, and when I codify it, I guess now that I'm codifying, I'll write out exactly what it is. It's government records that are ready to be published to the public. An arrest warrant is not a public record until the person is actually arrested and the incident report is solved. It is an internal PD document at that point.
So I'm going to provide a counterpoint to this, because I do understand where you're coming from this, but I feel like that's a bit of a like an idealistic scenario. I'm gonna paint you an example of a client I got. Individual, actually two of them share the same situation. Client has an arrest warrant for having been responsible for shooting cops and negligence of a firearm, right?
So accessory. They're getting it because the other person did it with their gun.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, he turns himself in. He is now a felon. He loses his civilian job. He goes to jail. God knows what happens to him inside. He gets a massive fine. But more often than not, there is no judge available for a review of the warrant or a bench trial. So
there has never been a warrant review that's been requested that has not occurred. That is false.
Okay. All right.
Because warrant reviews can take place with the MDT being accessible from your home browser. Warrant reviews can take place from outside the city.
Okay. All right. Okay. That actually, so you just do it through the email system?
So we receive like a request from the PD. They say, I need a warrant review on this. And then just like a search warrant, for example, PD now have the ability, judges now have the ability to access the MDT from their home tablet, and they can pull up the arrest warrant, review all the PC, all the statements, everything, and then say if it passes the sniff test or not, which again is the whole point, of a PC check, right? Now, if the person then is arrested, then they can obviously request the bench trial or whatever, which is a different standard of proof from the sniff test. The warrant review is simply just to see if there's a basic level of PC. Because guess what? Sometimes the warrants are bad and lazy, and it's a final check and balance on that.
Okay.
But I will tell you that, since the restructuring, we have not missed a warrant review.
That answer actually completely satisfies my concern.
Yeah, we designed it that way intentionally so that there would not be a missed warrant review. Now, in terms of, the actual then appeal of the charges, etc., sometimes those things need to go to the docket, sometimes they don't, depends on the complexity of the situation. But in terms of a basic check for PC, there is no one getting arrested for an arrest warrant in this jurisdiction, in this day and age, without a judge laying eyes on it if they wish. That is the base level of effect.
While I have you, warrants, can they be made indefinite?
There are several circumstances where that is true. One of them,
30 days?
The only time we go beyond 30 days is either one, it is requested, which, believe it or not, that happens sometimes. The other time would be if someone was in police custody at the time of an arrest, they then could not come back after the storm, or they went into the ICU and then they did not return.
Okay.
The criminally negligent ownership of a firearm is a strange one because the crime is a per se crime.
Yeah.
There are a few conditions for it, which is number one, you own a firearm. Number two, that firearm is found in someone else's possession. Number three, there is no recorded report of you reporting that firearm stolen. Now, the process for reporting that is very clearly laid out, which is told to people when they get their firearms license, which is you must go to MRPD and you must make a physical report in person with a dispatcher or police officer.
Nino.
Your way to confirm that that report has
Let's go,
been
I'm on
made
duty.
is then you then request the report number from the person when they make it in front of you.
Yep.
That way there's
Let's go.
accountability on both
Okay.
sides. And I will tell you
Yep.
that I know this system works so well because I now have
if you say
complaints.
it, I believe that.
No, listen. I now have complaints
Make sure you tell
that people
Alan that,
are too
that we're
good at
doing
making
that.
reports. And there are several individuals who,
particular
for
reason.
example, you can only buy one gun a week from ammunition.
Okay.
There are some individuals who have bought a gun
Okay.
once every week since they've gotten their license, and every gun has been stolen like clockwork. And they've
The
reported every
actual
single one
fuck?
like clockwork.
Oh.
So we're now having to
All right.
evaluate
Just wait,
how to deal with
just
people
wait,
like that.
you
So
psycho.
that's
I'm
how I know the
waiting.
system works.
Okay.
Get in.
I believe that to a degree, except for the fact that we waited upwards of an hour for my client's reports to be looked up, which were apparently, obviously I don't see this, right? This is what I've been told.
Sure.
Was a mix between incidents and reports. And according to them,
Who's your
they were
client?
unsure. This is the window guy. The officer was unsure whether the fifth one was or was not in the system. And that
Okay, hold on one second.
when they searched for his name, he had been robbed so many times, and not for a gun, but just in general, because the guy works sanitation, that it was mostly all these like robberies that are like it filled up his like search results.
So hold on, I'm looking right now.
Okay.
I'll tell you for a fact because I can see everything in the MDT. So if someone lied or obfuscated, I'll tell you right now.
All right.
So Wendell. Okay, I see that he got his license on the 20th of March by Eve DiCenzo Summers. I have 3 reported stolen firearms.
Okay.
One is labeled April 30th. One is May 7th. One is June 6th. Now, one of them, 2 of them are marked as retrieved. So the one from April 30th is marked as retrieved. The one from May 7th is also marked as retrieved. The firearm reported stolen on June 6th, number 7604, has not been marked as retrieved. There is a secondary report here that says firearm recovered 2024-06-15, incident 6906. So one moment.
These conversations, unfortunately, get a little difficult because they're very pedantic.
So I see here,
and they're not really. They're kind of like someone who's got like the full system in front of them, being able to review these things and not fundamentally realizing we don't have access to this. We have to go off other people that don't have it.
okay, so 6906. Wendell's gun was found.
So he's like missing the social, right? It's kind of like
1 second.
one step
Guessing
away
his
from
state
having
ID is
access to the
8935. Hold on.
server's database.
Yes. Okay.
Because I don't think he's understanding that I shouldn't have to call you, Crane, to figure this out. But the conversation, unfortunately, doesn't get that deep, that far.
One second. There's a lot of pictures in here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. I think I got it. Here we go.
Okay.
So on June 5th, Zakeed Skingerton was found with one of Wendell's guns. And then on June 15th, a Leon Benz was found with one of, a Sparky Kane was found with one of Wendell's guns.
Okay.
Now let's double check here.
I hope
Wendell
I hope
has
he's
the 30th of
processing
April.
how much work this is requiring to fact
7th of May, he states that him and Bo Bummer both had a firearm stolen.
check. Okay.
And then on the 6th of June, he reports a third firearm stolen. So in total,
Shit,
in
is it like a
history
severe
of Wendell,
thunderstorm? What if-
he has
Oh, it is a
3 reported
thunderstorm.
firearms being stolen.
Oh shit! Be careful up there. It's thundering.
And they are all listed on his profile. 2 of them were recovered. The one that has not been
Oh, look at
recovered is the
that.
one from he reported on the 6th. However, he says that it was stolen on the 5th.
Oh, shit,
Now,
it was,
there
like,
one of
really
those
close.
incidents that I just told you
It's
about
right
happened
up
on the
there.
5th,
What if we go up there to watch?
which was
Are you
the
down?
Sparky or the Zakeed Skingerton. Okay. So it is possible that the Zakeed Skingerton one is related to the last report that is not accounted for. However, there is one report that has not been retrieved, and there are 2 guns. So at the very least, he is guilty of criminally negligent ownership on one of them.
Okay.
So if this came to me and I was reviewing the warrant, that's what I would tell you.
Okay. Do you think that there is so as of right now the process is individual gets robbed, right?
Correct.
They go to Mission Row. They say, "Hey, my gun's been stolen." How do they
Correct.
confirm that report's been created?
You asked for the report number.
And then what, request the FOIA on it to make sure it's actually been filled out?
Correct. Yeah. Or you could, I mean, they should just give it to you at the end of the day.
They
There's no
should.
reason.
Yeah.
There is zero, and I'll write this into the,
I
to the
think
updated
this
voice
is
thing.
really where, because I think we're going deep into this, like, coulda, woulda, shoulda, and these things.
This
should
is
be
this is
this
a
way.
really
The
stupid
reality
basic to me.
is, Frank,
This is not
I
a
would
private
be-
thing. It's his report. Why can't he have it? I don't understand.
Yeah, what you are saying is literally what I've been saying for the last 3 days. And so
I will
hopefully
write this up.
Let's
so it
start with
covers
that, and then let's go from there. I'm satisfied with
It's
your
been raining
warrant
all day.
conclusion. Given if warrants are in fact getting reviewed, you send the email out, boom, boom, boom. Then I think this really nips a lot of things in the bud.
Yeah, from what I'm looking at, it is. Hold on.
Oh my god.
Someone might have fucked something up. So they wrote in the warrant that he's had 3 stolen, and they're writing that 3 of them were retrieved.
And the same individual conflicted a judge.
Who's
mind
that?
you. Apparently, according to this, Rika conflicted Bailey in the creation of this. I've got like a whole page of notes.
Yeah, they're not around right now. When was this created? This was created Sunday. How much time is Oh, it's 5 days. Okay, tell you what. How about this? I have one related question to this warrant.
All right.
I am going to ask it and then get back to you, and I'll tell you what I think. Because right now, I have one question that I can't figure out just in this moment because I need to ask them. But from my review, there definitely is a separation between the number of guns that have been found and the number of guns that are reported stolen.
Yeah.
And yes, the guns that were found were then used to shoot cops or whatever.
Okay.
So at the very least, regardless of whether both of these are accurate or just one of them, he's getting the accessory of the violent felony and at least one times criminally negligent or firearm. I just need to make sure if it's 2 or 1. They're pretty adamant in this text that 3 have been recovered, so I'm going to double check all that.
Okay.
As I said, I'm going to write up the FOIA thing, and I will include sections about this stuff, because if you go and report a victim report or a stolen firearm report, there is no reason why you shouldn't just get a copy of that. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that's
because it's your report. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Well, like I said, that was the snowball effect, right? If I can't get that, then everything else becomes doom for me as a lawyer, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Like at that point, it just feels like you go in there and they're like, "Suck my dick." It's like, okay, well,
yeah. All right. Well, I got some work to do. I didn't realize how late it was. We'll probably have to do this tomorrow. But let's talk tomorrow once I have time to talk to the police and I have time to write up my draft.
All right.
And we'll fact check my draft or logic check my draft with your list of requests.
Okay.
Easy.
All right.
Ocean,
See you
I'm
tomorrow.
Ocean King.
You
Thank
take
you.
care. Bye. Oh my God.
Thanks for checking.
My general take on this, Siobhan, I want to hear your opinion on this. And this is where I'm not going to argue with Crane because he's an old man. Old men stuck in their ways. We should not have to call upon Crane for these things. And I think that's
You're right.
kind of
Murphy should have done his job.
he should have done his job. And
Murphy
I
could have
think
easily taken care of this.
so. My follow-up question is that prior to Crane arriving, I want to say we were in agreement that legislation would be drafted and presented to the 8 individuals responsible behind legislation. It would be discussed and then either passed or not passed. Not passed, things get altered, gets brought up to the council,
I'm
etc.
a progressive and Alan is very conservative.
Yeah.
I realized recently I'm more of a leftist than I thought, and I'm not a real neoliberal. I might be Liz Warrening out, unsure. I always thought it was more of a Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, did you see that lightning strike across the sky? Jesus. Sorry.
Where I'm kind of going with this is, Crane had to come in and save the day, which is good and all, but is this how council meetings go?
No.
Okay. Do you think this is unique given it's like a DOJ federally stating thing?
It is a unique DOJ inherent.
All right.
I think that's why. I think that if you had a functional, let me put it this way: if I was head of bar, you wouldn't have had to go to Crane about this.
All right.
I just don't want to put my chains back on, I paid my dues. I've done my time.
Yeah, it's dangerous. There should be. I'd like to see some avenues via the console where these things can kind of be drafted up and brought up without barrier.
Well, Nino, if you have any idea about any legislation at all that you would like to see at all, if you want to draft stuff up, I would love to do that. I will do that for you. Bring it my way.
Siobhan,
Let's talk.
I'm gonna start.
Let's work it.
After speaking with you, I'm gonna be cooking, but I need your help in getting rid of Murphy. And I need
a
help
new-
to find out how the fuck to do that.
Listen, I need a new Secretary of Finance
I
in
think
my cabinet, and my cabinet is a think tank.
Wait, Secretary of Finance?
Yes, it's a cabinet position. You would get paid. You would sign in as city council, but you are part of the mayor's cabinet.
Okay.
I'll have to double check with Max, but I pretty much overseen all the hiring decisions for the cabinet. 'Cause I did all the interviews.
The
I need to
lawyer's
formally
name is
interview
Siobhan.
you.
It's so bad.
You still gotta be a lawyer.
Yeah, but that sounds like I'm just getting paid to do nothing. No?
Sorry, wait, say it again.
That kind of sounds like I get paid to do nothing.
No, I want you to actually do what you're doing.
Okay. All right. I am always down for opportunity.
What I would want you in this position for is I don't want you to sign in to do nothing. I want you to sign in when you and I are sitting down and think-tanking legislation.
I see. I see where you're going with this.
I want to just make sure that you're getting paid government money and it also gives you access to council docs. That's pretty much the only reason. That way you can actually write legislation that I can see and review. And other people know you wrote it, and like, so it makes it easier for disclosures and transparency.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? So how do I get Murphy impeached? Because what's the process?
I can give you 2 answers.
All right. So I'll tell you what happened, right? I'm just looking through this and tell me if I'm wrong. According to this, expectation of city council members. As a member of the city council, I hereby swear to uphold the expectations and requirements of my position, including but not limited to conducting myself in a
Special
professional
interest
manner
groups?
at all times, working with honesty and integrity, maintaining a fair and consistent line of communication, attending all meetings to the best of my ability, performing our responsibilities efficiently and effectively, and displaying behavior becoming my status and position. He told me that you're trying to kill him, and he's refusing to listen to a lawyer about FOIAs, which completely
Why did he
falls
say
under...
why he thought I was trying to kill him?
I don't know. I literally have no
Did he
idea.
articulate a single rationale as to what my motivation would be?
There is... All I heard him say was poo-poo pee-pee. And it was hurting my brain. Siobhan, I don't have time for toddlers. I don't. Unless someone is willing to move this city forward, I don't have time. I really don't. And I know I can be brass. I know I can be short, but that's because I'm trying to make shit better. You know what I mean? And whether it's for myself, whether it's for my clients, and now my colleagues that are asking for help, and I'm not going to stop. You know? And I see this guy as an impediment.
Sometimes you are those people's only fucking advocate, right? You're the only person who gives a fuck in that courtroom, and that matters. That fucking matters. You having the tools you need to do your job fucking matter.
Yeah. I am not looking to fucking sit around just
can
getting
I
a
tell you the
paycheck.
problems?
Yeah.
Okay, when it comes to okay, so let me just say this right now. The easiest way to get Murphy Braun impeached is to make Murphy Braun self-implode, which is a really easy task.
Yeah. I would probably garner all the lawyers who I think I've already garnered quite a bit of respect for to petition for him to step down.
Oh, that's great. Why don't you just do that? Okay, so get like a general vote of like dissatisfaction, right? Like essentially like a vote of non-confidence.
Yep.
Right? To have a bunch of lawyers sign on to it. Put that on the docket for articles of impeachment and do it underneath what it says. There's like 5 articles of impeachment. Do general incompetence or something as a rationale, and you have all these lawyers signing off that he has failed to uphold like his basic duties.
Yeah, I think that's probably the move.
And honestly, I think just give it to runner-up. I wish somebody would do this for Solomon Walker already. God. The
Who the
deputy
fuck's that?
mayor, he's suspended currently.
Who is he?
Sorry, Reggie just called me. Let me call him back real fast.
Yep. I'm gonna go to my vehicle. Siobhan, it's been
Oh
a
yeah,
pleasure.
let me drop you off.
Yeah.
You know.
It's
Hey
gonna be
Reggie,
right in
give me
front of
1
Mission Row.
second. Okay.
And oh, it's
Let
still
me call
there.
you right back. I just want to let you know. I'll get back with you in
Yeah.
a sec. I didn't mean to miss your call. Okay, bye. You know, it was an absolute pleasure. Always lovely to see you. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to bring this to, you know, mine and Alan's and everyone's attention.
Yeah.
And you know, let me know if there's I was fucking serious about that. Let me know if there's any time you want to work on legislation. I'm super down to think, brainstorm and think tank, that sort of thing.
Well,
Workshop it.
over the next this week, I'm gonna be cooking some shit, a lot of shit, and I'll share it with you.
Okay. Sounds
right.
awesome. I look
You
forward
take
to
care.
it. Cool. Thanks, Nino.
You too.